So you want to make your own crochet wigs? In the next few posts, I'm going to be sharing a series of videos dedicated to how I make my crochet wigs using the Elan Blue method. The process takes about 8 hours to complete, so I've broken it up into 4 or 5 videos total. Hey guys, Kamra here with Elan Blue Talks, where I help you to create stunning wigs through easy to follow steps, explore simple protective hairstyle options, and share tips on growing healthy, beautiful hair naturally. If you haven't already, go ahead and press that subscribe button to catch more videos just like this. All links in this video is going to be in the description box below. A lot of you guys have asked me in the comment sections questions about the process of making these wigs. Hopefully my response gave clarity and it was helpful. But I'm also going to go ahead and share more of the process for both you guys who've been following me for a while, as well as new people. So yeah, let's get started. So one thing that we are going to need is a mannequin head. A few other things you'll need is a medium size crochet needle, scissors. We are also going to need hair. So we're going to be using this brand, Zuri Marley Braid. And this is pretty much my go-to hair as of right now. I've used different brands before, but this one I like because I like the texture and the consistency of the texture. Sometimes with different hair brand, especially if it's curly or has a particular kinky texture, sometimes for whatever reason, the hair comes a little bit straighter than I like it to be, or a little bit more matted. There's just oftentimes inconsistency in texture, so I have to find a brand that I like that will keep a certain consistency. Because I do sell the hair online, it's better to be able to trust the brand and to trust that you're going to get what you expect. So Zuri for the most part has been meeting those expectations for me. We're also going to need a wig cap. I've already gone ahead and put a tag on mine, and I've gone ahead and sewn a stitch going across this cap because, as you can see, this cap is super long, and because it's stretchy, we're not going to need all of that. So what I'd like to do is create a stitch line and then cut this part off. And we can measure that if you want. Let's see. So I like to stitch the cap about 2 inches down. So this is a cap that's already been cut. And you can see the difference there. That's about as much as we're gonna need. What I do is I make sure that with the tag on the back of the cap, I make sure that the tag is pointing down or is labeled down towards the ridges. Can you see those ridges? Yep, towards the ridges. And it's also on the smooth part of the band. So this is the more fluffy part of the band, if that makes any sense. And then there's a smooth part. So the tag is on the smooth part of that band. So the cap is stitched. The label or tag is on. And now what I'm gonna do is, this is my mannequin head and it has a seam line or a stitch. My seam that I created on my cap, I'm gonna line it up with the seam on my head. Okay, so you see that? So with the seam, it doesn't really have to be super lined up, but with the seam on the outside of the cap, that's how I place the cap on the mannequin head. So now the tag is tucked under. You can see it there. So now the ridges are up, and you can even see that there is net on the top part of that band, which is what you want. The tag is in the back, and it's indicated by the white threads, and the top has the seam line or the seam stitch extra pieces on the outside. So we have our cap, we have our mannequin head ready to go, we have our seam at the top, we have our tag on the back. So taking the hair out the pack, this hair is pretty long. If you want a long unit, then you can keep it this length and just take the band off and start crocheting at this length. But for a standard Elan blue wig, or the wigs that I make, I cut it in half. Boop, right there, right at the band. So what I'm going to do in this video is start from the bottom, but you can also start from the top as well. I rotate between the two. Sometimes I'll start from the bottom half down here, or sometimes I'll start from the top half. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you how you wanna start it. Just depends on how I'm feeling and what part of the hair I really wanna get going. There is a benefit to starting at the top. If you don't have a tag on the back to indicate where the center back is, then it's best to start at the top, because you know that this is the center because of the seam line. So if, like I said, if you don't have a tag on the back, just start at the top and go straight to where the center of that seam stitch is, and that'll tell you exactly where the back half is. So for instance, the back half for this piece is right about here, and then you would just follow that row. Ooh, where are we? It can get a little confusing, this thing. Doesn't have to be exact, but it helps to be as precise as possible. So I think I'm following this line. It's kind of hard to see on this video, but hopefully you get the idea. You'll follow that all the way down until you got maybe like right here. So some of you guys have asked, like, how do I do the formation or create that grid? This is the beginning of the grid. So this part is really important, just to get it as accurate as possible, because if you don't get it right at the beginning, then the whole thing ends up being kind of warped or off. So you definitely want to have it correct early on, or the whole thing is kind of messed up. I'm finding that middle part, which again, because I have a tag on the back, it is indicated to be right about here for me. So my first crochet is gonna go right there. So I'm gonna put it here. Just like that. Can you see that? So it's hanging on the side here. So not in the center, but on the side. And then what I do is flip it back over. So now it's hanging right on the band. And what I would do now is place that another piece of hair. I'm going from left to right. I'm going right, so the next piece of hair is going to go on the right side, not on the left side. And all of the hairs are going to go this way. So the next hair is right there, and then I'll go ahead and put another one right there. Another one is there, and I'm actually going through the entire band, not just through the net. The net is going through the entire band, because what you're trying to do is attach the net to the band so that it doesn't flip under so easily. So right now, so your band wants to do this, right? But we want to keep it flipped like this as often as or as secure as possible. Now it won't always stay there if you keep playing with it, but as much as possible you want to keep it flipped like this. So in order for that to happen, you have to stitch or crochet the hair onto both the net and the band. Now it is a little bit difficult to get it through both pieces, so you'll have to put a little bit of force through it, but it will go through. So it wasn't until after I started recording this section that I realized my shoulder was in the way, so I do apologize for this angle, but it does get better as the video goes on. I'm taking only a little bit of hair at a time because the back of the unit is usually a little bit lighter than the front. I'm trying to disperse the density just a little bit more so that it's not so heavy. I've made it heavier in the back, and it just weighs it down and just looks so bulky, when really the front is where you want all the volume and all the luscious curls. So I tend to lessen the density in the back by using a few less strands of hair. I do use a little bit more hair on the band because it's the back of the head, at the bottom of the neck, which I think will need a little bit more coverage. But for the most part, in the back, I am using a lot less hair. One of the things that make my crochet technique a little bit different is that I hold the loop after I've created it as I'm pulling the hair through it so that it doesn't tighten. I like the loop to be loose because it gives me a lot more coverage at the scalp area. It covers both the net as well as the mannequin head, which means that it would cover more of my hair as well when I'm wearing the wig. So it gives a more realistic look to the unit once it's completed. So again, when I'm crocheting, when I create the loop, I hold on to the net and slide the loop through gently, not tugging on it and not creating a knot. For neatness, every row of hair has 4 sections of crochet pieces on it. And every group that I twist together has 4 rows of hair on it. So it's 4. So it's essentially it's 4 by 4. It's 4 hairs up and 4 rows up and 4 pieces of hair across. This helps to kind of create a grid and create a neatness so that when it's time to redo or refresh the unit, it's not so disorganized. It's very clear where the sections of hair belong so that it makes for a much easier refresh when it's time. It's kind of hard to tell at this angle, but there is a organization to this I'm making sure that each row has a particular number of hair on it and is placed in a particular area. I do have a diagram that I've posted in a previous video, and that helps to shed light on this process. I will put a link to that video both in the description as well as in the corner of this video so that you can check it out. It's definitely helpful creating a grid in the long run. Essentially what you're trying to do is create a section that goes straight up with equal amount of hair in it. But also you're skipping every other hole and every other row, or skipping every other side of the hole and every other row, because it helps to thin out the hair. Because if you go through every hole, it will be so bulky and heavy and too much hair. And if you go on every row, the same thing. So we're skipping rows and we're skipping holes, if that makes any sense. I hope that makes sense. The steps are pretty repetitive, so you tend to get the hang of it very quickly. Just keep practicing. Grab a cluster of hair and lightly fan out for easy separation. In your resting hand, lay the cluster of hair evenly over your index finger. Above the knuckle works best. In your operating hand, grab the medium-sized crochet needle. There are 3 different crochet needle sizes I use: a small, a medium, and a large. The small and medium are the ones I use the most. I use a small one for doing baby hairs and the medium for the meat of the wig. But the large I don't tend to use too much, but it may come in handy for big clumps of hair that you want to crochet. Starting from the elastic band with the crochet needle, grab hair about 10 to 13 strands off your index finger and pull the hair through the net 1 inch, closing the latch as you pull. Slide the crochet needle up, moving the looped hair down. This action will open the latch again. Smooth out your hair group, making sure you have all the strands together, and hold firmly about 2 inches away from the net. Hook the hair on the left side of the diamond-shaped net with the needle and pull so the looped hair on the crochet hook slides up, closes the latch, and slides onto the hair group. Release your grip on the hair and grab hold of the loop that you have just made on the net. This helps to support the net so that you are not pulling on it so much, as well as it helps to hold the loop that you are creating so that it doesn't tighten. Ideally, with my crochet wigs, I like to keep a loose loop so that it covers more of the net and gives a more realistic scalp.
Virgo.